Hey, good morning, everybody. It's good to be with you on this Thursday morning. For those of you that watch us usually on YouTube, I apologize. Um, not being at school. Not that I'm apologizing for not being in school. I'm thankful that we're not in school right now, but my computer at school is set up to where I can put it on YouTube. Other than that, I have to depend on Brother Andrew to put it on for me, and he's always great to do that. So I came back to school tonight so that I could do it and not have to aggravate him because I've been gone the last couple of weeks. He's put it on for me a time or two, and then I forgot last week, so I apologize. But I want to jump right into today's devotion. Let me share my screen. I've entitled today's How We Respond Matters. And Brother TJ mentioned that in his message that the Lord had given him and that he gave us on Sunday. And of course, talking of Paul and Silas, and if you've watched the devotions from the other brothers this week, you have seen their take on it as well. And, the story very familiar. Paul and Silas been thrown into prison. And that's where we kind of get, and Brother TJ asked, we're all going to go through difficulties. How will we respond? And so that's what we want to look at today. So in Acts 22 and 20 through 24, it says, and the multitude rose up together against them, talking about Paul and Silas, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them. So now Paul and Silas, here they are. They've been stripped. They've been brought out in the square there and beaten. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely, who having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner parts. Let me move me out of the way here, and made their feet fast in the stocks. So when we look at that, here's Paul and Silas, and if you didn't get to watch the service on Sunday, or if you're not familiar with this story, Paul and Silas had done nothing. The people of the town there was mad at them, and the reason that they was mad at them because they were preaching the gospel. They was teaching them, the love of Christ and Christ making the way for forgiveness of sins, which was cutting into some of their prophets, those who were fortune tellers and different things. And as a result of that, then they was going to take matters into their own hand and had thrown these two into jail after they beat them. And of course, again, if you didn't watch the sermon and don't know the story, then you would know that in the prison, Paul and Silas, had an uprising and overthrew the jailers. No, that's not what happened. But what they did was they had a revival. At midnight they started singing, and an earthquake came, and it shook the doors and the chains, and the other brothers this week had talked about how that was kind of not possible, that they were chained and chains going into the walls and things. And they had a jailer there watching them as well, who went to sleep. And when the earthquake came, they were free men, and could have ran away and went to another town and continued to preach. However, they stayed there. And in staying there, when the jailer woke up, realized what was going on, he was going to kill himself. And they said, we're right here. All's well. Don't worry about it. And led him to the Lord, and then went and preached to his family, who received the Lord as well. And so in that, we get today's devotion. How are we going to respond? My prayer is that we never get beaten, that we never land ourselves in jail, falsely accused or anything like that. However, as Pastor talked on Sunday, we will go through difficulties. And I like what James says here, James 1, 8, 9, and 10. It says, a double mind is unstable in all his ways. And so if you go and look at this, James is going to eventually start talking about money as well, being of low degree or the rich. Either way, when it's all said and done, money's not going to, when we're knocking on death's door, money's not going to do anything for us when this life is over with. And so when we look at that, it says, let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. And that's the same thing here. You know, how much lower can you be than being beaten almost to death and then falsely accused, chained inside of a dungeon or in a prison? But yet, what did they do? They rejoiced. And in that, God made a way out for them. It says, but the rich, when he is made low, because as the flower of the grass, he shall pass away. So, you know, we look at that with Paul and Silas, same thing, you know, being of low degree. We're going to go through things. We're not always, I think of the song, you know, life is easy when you're up on the mountain, but it's down in the valley of trials and temptation. That's when life is really put to a test. And so when we go through those tests, when we go through those trials, when we go through those tribulations, how are we going to respond? Here's what Paul says about it. 1 Corinthians 7:22 and 23, it says, for he that is called in the Lord, being a servant, is the Lord's free man. Likewise, also, he that is called, being free, is Christ's servants. You are bought with a price. Be not ye the servants of men. So remember that this morning, Mount Olive's friends and family, that you were bought with a price. As a child of Christ, yes, we are free, but we are his servants as well. And life's not always going to be easy. We're going to go through things. We're going to experience things that, you know, are not going to be fair. We're going to experience things that we're not going to understand. But know this, don't let your circumstances base how you respond. Respond as a servant of Christ. He may be the one who put you in that circumstance so that we can be a testimony, so that you can be a testimony. Paul and Silas, what they went through, they gave the glory to the Lord. The Lord used that as a platform, and other people's life was eternally changed because they received Christ as their Savior as well. So as you go through your day and as you go through your weeks and months and years, remember this. We can't always wiggle our way out of every circumstance to make life comfortable. Sometimes when we're getting stretched and we're out of our comfort zone, it's there that Christ can use us. So make sure that we respond as his servants. I love you and pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.